All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. It is Tuesday, April 29th in the NBA. We got 4 games tonight, so super excited about that. Hopefully we get some good basketball, and obviously with more games, more picks available out there. So going to try to find the best ones to bring to you guys and get you guys on your way because there is a 6 o'clock start. I'm going to go through one. This is kind of as quickly as possible. Going to focus on the plays I'm really liking. Then we'll get you guys out of here. If you're new around here, go ahead and leave the video a like, comment something down below, subscribe if you're new, all those good things. Let's hop into a quick recap of yesterday's picks, and then we'll start talking about some plays. And it was a horrible day. 1-4 day, not the best in the world. Going to try to bounce back one. We knew we didn't love the slate yesterday. Not a ton going on, but at the same time, maybe went a little bit too heavy. Haywood Highsmith, 5.5 points, only plays 11 minutes. The Heat lose by like 75 points practically, and yeah, that was embarrassing for them. On the flip side of that, I'm thinking, Jared Allen's not going to play much. He plays 25 minutes. Still gets 12 rebounds. I'm not sure how many rebound chances he had, but at the same time, the Heat shot 36% for the game. There's going to be a lot of rebound opportunities in a game like that. DeAndre Hunter was a pretty good read, 11.5 points. He easily crushed that. A lot of reserves and really a lot of reserves went over their lines in terms of scoring for the Cavs. They didn't have to play their main guys that much. Steph Curry, I like this read. I probably should have just gone under his points because I thought, hey, they might have to lock into him a little bit more, and they really did that. The unfortunate part was he wasn't doing much in terms of facilitating. They were really just taking him out of the game completely, and that's why you saw a big game from like Brandon Bajemski, who I also thought about and talked about in yesterday's video, but didn't make an official pick. And then Jabari Smith Jr. still shoots like a ridiculous percentage. The volume's just not there. I don't know why. He's one of the best shooters on the team, and they need shooting out there with Amin Thompson and Sengun not going to spread the floor and shoot a whole bunch. Obviously, you got Fred VanVleet out there. You got Jalen Green, who's really practically just playing himself off the court at this point. But then you have guys like Jabari Smith and Tari Eason who just aren't getting the shots and aren't getting the volume that I think they should be getting. Maybe get the guys some looks. You don't have many shooters. Might as well get them the ball. So yeah, 1-4 day. We're going to be transparent over here every single time, and let's try to bounce back from it. All right, so hopping over to RotoWire to talk about the 4 games. We do have a 6 o'clock start, so if you're watching this and it's after 6 o'clock, don't worry, I'll probably be doing the bulk of the information for the later games, but I still do have a play in this first game of the night as well. But we got Milwaukee and Indiana. No Damian Lillard, obviously, torn Achilles now. He's going to be done for the year, and the Milwaukee Bucks are probably going to be done for the year as well, down 3-1 in this series in Indiana. This could be the game that gets them out of here. I don't know if Giannis is going to be, super aggressive tonight. I think he probably will be, but if there's a lead that's built up by Indiana, it's probably going to be a little bit harder for him to put as much effort in it. It's probably a little bit disappointed in the season, what they got going on so far, and last season, how the Pacers, bounced them again last year. But of course, Giannis injured in that series. So I don't expect Giannis to kind of just roll over and die here, but there are a lot of value spots for some other guys. Again, at the projected minutes here, Giannis is going to get as much time as possible, but you got guys like Gary Trent, Kevin Porter Jr., they're going to get a lot of minutes here, and Bobby Portis also projected for 32 minutes off the bench. We've been talking about it ever since game 1. Brook Lopez doesn't fit against this Indiana team that plays pretty fast. Again, Miles Turner can take him out of the paint a little bit as well, so he has not been playing much in this series, and I don't expect him to play much tonight. Kyle Kuzma is not someone we can trust in this series either, and I've been kind of rolling with him a lot of these games. Bobby Portis is probably going to be my main guy. Again, seeing that his line didn't change, still at 13.5. Definitely someone I'm interested in, but I also went in and checked the on-off court stats with no Damian Lillard in the court, even without Brook Lopez in the court, with no Middleton here anymore. Gary Trent Jr. scoring for a 12.5 line. I think he's scoring like 20 points per game in that much time in the court with all those other dudes out of there. So Gary Trent's another guy that I'd want to look at. And then KPJ's been pretty good in the time that he's been on the court as well. So yeah, he's always another guy to look at here. So Brook Lopez, you'd look at some unders, but they're going to be very, very low, so probably not going to touch that because he can knock down 2 threes and then get out of there. And his line's at 5.5 right now, so probably not going to touch any unders for them, but definitely some opportunities for some other dudes on Milwaukee. Then we got Indiana. Anis Smith is going to be a probable tag. Ben Mathurin didn't play last time. He's a game time decision today. He's a younger dude, so I could see him playing through injury, but at the same time, they're up 3-1. No Damian Lillard now. They're a little bit in control here. They're at home, so maybe they give Ben Mathurin another game rest and see if they can close it out without him. And at the same time, he's obviously a bench player. He's not like a Tyrese Halliburton or a Siakam or something like that. We got some pretty good spots for the Indiana Pacers. You do got to worry about some sort of blowout situation. It is 8-point spread. Is Milwaukee going to come in here, lay down and die after the Lillard news, or are they going to fight for here and kind of fight for Giannis because he's obviously a huge competitor? So we'll start with Indiana and Milwaukee. I'm going to show you the first play we're looking at, and this is going to be the only official play in the game for this one. Bobby Portis over 13.5 points. I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's going to get a lot of time in the court. Games without Damian Lillard, without Middleton, and even with Giannis in here, he's over in 5 of the 6 games. The only game he didn't go over was against the Pacers here. He shot 8 times and only shot 25%. So a decent amount of volume here, but he's going to need to step up, especially with Damian Lillard in here, and we've seen him do that time and time again throughout the season. Playoffs are a little bit different, but he's got a pretty good matchup to score the ball. Not the most amazing one, but we're pretty weak to that pick and roll big man. He's going to play a lot of that with Brook Lopez. He's cutting into his time. Spot up, post up. They're not the best defenders here. You can see similar types of players that scored up like Bobby Portis are going over the lines. The last 10 of 15 guys are going over their lines. So the Pacers definitely stepped it up defensively in the playoffs so far here, but we can see some big gains from some of these bench players, and I'm going to go to Bobby Portis. Gary Trent Jr., another guy that I'm considering just with the time on the court he's going to get. Not as sexy a matchup here in terms of he doesn't have that big man role aspect to his game that they're a little bit weaker Indiana is, but at the same time with that much time in the court, Gary Trent Jr. can put the ball in the basket for sure. I'm not going to trust Kyle Kuzma. I'm not taking any unders on Brook Lopez. They're just too low. And then if you want to go to Giannis, he's just so close to this line all the time. I think the line is just a little bit too sharp for me. I was honestly looking at rebounds and assists. Some books have this at 20.5. It looks like most of them have it at 19.5. So potentially an over in that spot interests me just because his assists are so much higher without Damian Lillard and without Middleton around on the court. And even with Brook Lopez coming off the court, it even goes up a little bit. I think it's like eight assists per game or something in terms of their per 36 with those guys off the court. And then the rebounding is going to be 11 to 12. So you're going to be right around this line. But again, very, very tight lines for Giannis. And then thinking on the Pacers side of things, I was looking at a Pascal Siakam bounce back spot here just because he's been so good against the Bucks. But if Brook Lopez is going to get a ton of time on the court, he's not going to have that super speed advantage that he's getting the switch onto Brook Lopez and really just driving by him or getting the space and shooting over him. So Pascal Siakam's, we saw him go down to 12 points last time. Yeah, Brook Lopez only played like 15 minutes, so that does scare me a little bit. He only did play 29 minutes in that big blowout as well, but 20.5 seems like something I'm a little bit interested in. The rebounds and assists is also something I'm considering just for a guy like Pascal Siakam. It's been something I've eyed this entire series, but without Brook Lopez playing a whole lot, it changes a lot of stuff, and we don't have as much information looking at this Bucks defense and what they can handle or what they give up more with Brook Lopez off the court. And again, I just don't think he's going to play that much time. So the Pacers are a little bit harder for me to predict because of that situation they got going on. But Halliburton assists is something I'm a little bit interested in. He's just been an assist machine. He's been playing really, really well. He obviously likes playing the Bucks, and you can see the head-to-head. He's been recently been going over this line a decent amount. If this was at 9.5, I definitely would go to it. 10.5, you got to get that 11th. You're not going for the double-double here. So something I was interested in, but nothing too crazy here. Rebounding and assists, again, I feel like I talked about it a few times now, is also something I've been interested in. At 15.5, it's been at 14.5 a lot. You can see similar types of players. A lot of these guys, especially recently, going over the lines, including McConnell and Halliburton themselves. But again, with Brook Lopez off the court, is that going to change a whole lot defensively for this Bucks squad? So Pacers a little bit harder to predict for me. I'm just sticking with my Bobby Portis play for the first play of the video. Now moving along to the Pistons and the Knicks. This is a 3-1 series lead for the New York Knicks, even though it probably should be a 2-2 tied series with that foul on Josh Hart that should have been called on the Tim Hardaway Jr. 3, but here we are at 3-1. I think this is going to be a Cade Cunningham, as much volume as you can handle. Do your thing, and I also think Duren should not be playing as much basketball on this team right now in this matchup. He's been like a minus, I think, in every single game almost. Maybe not game 3, but game 4, minus 17 in a 1-point loss. That's unfortunate there. So Cade Cunningham, I think, is going to be the main guy here. I do like his rebounds for what he's been doing recently. The head-to-head hasn't been amazing, but again, recently he's been getting a lot of time on the floor, 40-plus minutes. He's a little bit more opportunity to get some rebounds. His line's at 6.5, so getting the points and rebounds line at 34.5. I like it at 33.5, obviously. That's where I'm going to play it because a bunch of books have it there. 62% hit rate head-to-head, and again, I think he's just going to get a lot of volume on the court. When he's going to see that much time in the court, we're seeing a lot of minutes from him recently, 42 in the last few games. So if we're going to get, let's say, 38-plus minutes, hopefully no blowout, 69% hit rate. Take away Jaden Ivey on here, we're getting a 78.9% hit rate on this points and rebounds line. Add that to the fact that I think Duren might lose some time here. Again, his plus-minus doesn't tell the whole story, but he's been a lot of minuses in these games, and he sometimes just gets played off the floor a little bit, but they just keep running him, so I'm not going to take the under on the rebounds for Duren, even though I like that play. I'm instead just going to go to Cade to grab some more rebounds if Duren does lose some time here. So Cade Cunningham, keeping things simple. The pick-and-roll ball handling defense we know can be weak. We've seen the big games from Malik Beasley, especially game 1. We saw some games from Tim Hardaway Jr. They've been playing him, making him be a ball handler, they've been making him be a distributor a little bit more, but I think Cade's going to get the volume, going to get the scoring today, and hopefully grab some boards as well. 33.5 points and rebounds for Cade Cunningham, second play of the day. And then quickly on the Knicks side of things, Brunson's not at 30.5 yet, so he scores 30 points against this Pistons team a whole bunch. We know he has a perfect matchup for it. Pick and roll ball handling, free throws, similar types of players really score well against this team. It's not like the Pistons are getting blown out, so maybe they don't change something up like drastically. The only thing that kind of fades me away about it is that Jalen Brunson is kind of susceptible to getting bumped to the ground and going to the locker room for a little bit, but at the same time, he's been able to play 39, 44, 40 minutes in this series pretty much every single game. So he's a pretty tough guy. He comes back even when he gets hobbled up a little bit, and he continues to score the rock, especially down the stretch of these games in the fourth quarter. So 29.5, maybe a lean on the over for Jalen Brunson. He's done it so many times. Why not do it again? He's got a great matchup to do so, and the Knicks definitely lean to him at the end of games. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, I also think could have bounce back opportunities. They both didn't score well, and they didn't need to last game, but I definitely could see some opportunity there. And then the last guy I'll mention is Dennis Schroeder at 10.5. He's been an absolute stud. He's been in situations like this before, and I think they can rely on him a little bit more. He's not the super elite scorer that they need as a secondary scorer, but at the same time, he's been able to come in here and have some really good games for him. So if he's going to get, the 27 to 30 minutes on the court that he's been used to, 10.5 just seems a little bit too low for him. Move along to the Celtics and the Magic. Going to keep things very simple. I will be at this game tonight, and Tatum's line at 27.5 is very, honestly, confusing to me, and surprising is the word I'm looking for, because he's been awesome against this team pretty much the entire year. We know Giannis plays very well against this team. Jason Tatum's not Giannis, but we know that they give up types of guys to isolation, pick and roll ball handling. They can get to the rim. He can get some free throws on this team, and he scored very well in the past two games against them. Then you get the fact that no Drew Holiday in this one. Jaylen Brown's on the game time decision report, will probably play, but if he doesn't, that's just going to be a boost for Jason Tatum here. So 27.5 points is not the line I'm actually going to go to, because he's been also a rebounding machine. So I'm going to go to the points and the rebounds at 36.5. Pretty much everywhere has got him at 36.5. That's what I'm looking at for Tatum. Anytime I see a line that I could see him getting the scoring, even without the rebounding, is awesome. And he's been a rebounding machine here so far in the series, and really in the playoffs, he steps up his rebounding a whole lot. He's going to get a lot of time in the court, obviously, unless it's somehow a blowout situation, but these games have been pretty close recently, and you can see what he's done recently in the 38 plus minutes over this in 55% of games. Playoff Tatum has arrived, and he's been awesome. Had that bone bruise, hasn't seemed to affect him very much at all. So you can go to the 27.5 points. I also like the points and rebounds at 36.5. Either one, I think it's going to be perfect for Jason Tatum to go over this, and they're going to keep it very simple and just go to JT with all the injury news and the fact that he's got a perfect matchup to score the points, and he's at home. Closeout situation. Everything looking good for Tatum, except he does kind of shrink in these situations sometimes, so hopefully I'm not jinxing him. Finally, moving into the Denver Nuggets versus the Clippers, I'm going to Jamal Murray here at 26.5 points and assists. He's been diamond up. He's been scoring pretty well. He's very consistently right on around this line, to be totally honest. This line is very tight. But at the same time, I think we're going to get a Jamal Murray game at some point. They are playing at home, which I think he plays a little bit better. No one's going to have a great matchup to do things like this that score the points or whatever, but Jamal Murray can do some ISO, can do some pick and roll ball handling. And again, it's a tough matchup for anyone, but I think we're going to get a Jamal Murray game at some point, and maybe it's this game. So the X factor in the series, Jamal Murray's got to step up. We got to see, flashes of what we saw him in, the championship season that they had. And again, he's been right around this line. It's not like he's been bad. I think he's had, a bounce back opportunity here, being a little bit of an understatement. Last game, 13 points, 7 assists, and the line's only at 26.5. So I like what I'm seeing from Jamal Murray in this series. He's been consistent. I think we just need that big game. Maybe gets a little bit more volume here, especially with some of the guys potentially out in this one. Michael Porter Jr. is probably going to play in this one, but Russell Westbrook, maybe a little bit more of a question mark, and maybe we see, a little bit more usage for a guy like Jamal Murray if Westbrook does miss this one and when he's in the game. So we're seeing he's going to get 38 plus minutes. He's over this in 55% of games. Recently, he's been really good. And again, if we're going to put the factor that it's at home, he's a little bit better at home, 61% of times going over this. So Jamal Murray, he's going to be my guy in game 5 for this series. The series has been awesome so far. We got a lot of good games tonight, and I'm super excited. Hopefully Jamal Murray can give us a little flash for the past and, go 2023 Jamal Murray on these guys and have a big scoring night and chip in with some assists as well. Some other guys I'm looking at in this matchup is probably going to be a Kawhi scoring type of day. I think they're going to lean on him a little bit more. Obviously, he had that huge explosion. That was a game they won by 3. They had the big game where they won by 34 points, but he's been, pretty aggressive in terms of the amount of shots he's getting. We know he's a playoff type guy, and he's got a pretty good matchup in this series. Head-to-head, he's only gone over once, but his line's at 25.5 5.5. I don't think 26 points for Kawhi Leonard in a pivotal game 5 here is all too hard to ask for. He's also been rebounding extremely well the last few games, so another guy that I'm potentially looking at some points and rebounds here, so I don't want to shy away from him. Norman Powell has been kind of coming alive in the series, has been really disappointing previously before that, but we actually called that game when we saw that, hey, this is an opportunity to get to Norman Powell's lines when they're a little bit too low. I think it was at 15.5 points for us, so he got there, but he's got a great matchup to score the points, and even assisting, he hasn't been great in the last game, but he's been getting over his lines. 1.5 is pretty big juice, but maybe a parlay piece at the same time. Zubac has been very consistent, right around his line every single time in terms of his rebounding, in terms of his points. It's all been right around there. Head-to-head, again, 50-50 here. Rebounds are going to be about the same, 37, so I'm not going to take an underline on a guy like Zubac who's going to get a ton of time in the court and can obviously grab some rebounds. But Nicholas Batum at 5.5 is another guy you just have to look at. In terms of the points, it's at 5.5. Then in terms of the assists, plus money again at 1.5, and we know that he literally only shoots threes on this team, so always want to point out Nicholas Batum in a situation where he's going to get a 1.5 line for plus money on 3 points. He's been really good here as well. That'll do it for this one. Again, I've been kind of going a little bit overzealous with the amount of picks I've been getting out, so going to stick to 4 plays, 1 in each game, which is good, so you can watch each game and have something down on it if you guys want to tail. But Bobby Portis over 13.5 points, and then we're going to some superstars today, which we've been going to a lot of fringe guys and role players. We're going to go to some superstars today with Cade Cunningham over his 33.5 points and rebounds, Jason Tatum over his 36.5 points and rebounds, and then Jamal Murray over his 26.5 points and assists here. That's the 4 official video picks. I didn't shout it out today. I totally forgot, but Props Madness is a tool we're using. If you want to check this out for a free week, use my link in the description down below. You can see how much how much data it gives you, all the different advanced filters. We didn't really do as many advanced filters just because the playoffs are a little bit different. But yeah, you can mess around with a ton of different information. They're awesome. They do have WNBA as well, so super excited about using that. You get the free week, but you also get 25% off your first month or your first year when signing up using my code RICH, so definitely check them out. And then again, if you want access to all my plays and just a really fun community, you can go ahead and do that as well using the links in the description down below. Check out PrizePicks, Underdog, Parlay Play, Sleeper, Betr, all those different platforms, Dabble. You have a code associated with me, either RichPicks or Rich or RichDFS. You'll see it in the link in the description. When you use that code, it helps me out because I get a little kickback when you guys use that, but I give it right back in terms of a free month, in terms of the Discord, but yeah, that's what we're gonna do for this. So I'm rambling. Let's get out of here. Let's have a good day. We had a 1-4 day yesterday. Let's try to bounce back with a nice 4-0 day, which would be pretty sweet. And at the same time, let's get some good basketball to watch tonight. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Good luck with all your bets. Peace out.